Um, it's you, Alyssa.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alyssa Malaspina. I am the chair of the ISTE Librarians Network Professional Development chairperson, and I am so excited tonight for a number of reasons, but first being that it's our first webinar of the year, so yay, school year. And I have my dear friend and excellent, amazing librarian, well, ex-librarian, now technology coach, Nikki D. Robertson, joining us tonight. And she, oh my God, I can't even discuss with you how great a presentation this is going to be on making yourself and your school relevant and having a great website and all about having a great digital footprint. So I'm not going to talk anymore because, I don't need to talk anymore. I'm going to let Nikki get into her spiel. And remember tonight, everybody, in a half hour at 8:30, we're going to be also available. Nikki and I will be available using the hashtag ISTELib to take questions from tonight's webinar. We'll be tweeting for about a half hour. So, Nikki, yay! Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Hey, I think that we're kind of like the Marines. Once a Marine, always a Marine. So once a librarian, always a librarian. So I think that kind of applies because I still feel like I am completely a librarian. So I'm really excited to be here tonight. If you have questions, if you're watching through Google+, I have enabled the question and answer feature. And also, if you have questions during the show or for the 30 minutes following the show, you can use hashtag ISTELib, ISTELIB, to ask any questions or make any comments. So we're going to jump right into this because I have a lot of information to share tonight with just a limited amount of time. So less than 30 minutes to share this information with you. So it's a good thing it's being recorded. So I'm going to get into our screen share now. And the topic of tonight's professional development, the first one for the ISTELib PD sessions, is school libraries remaining relevant in a digital world. Alyssa, you see everything just fine?
I do. Everything looks
perfect,
amazing, girl.
Yay. Okay, and I'm going to let you watch the hashtag while
I am watching the hashtag while you're talking. I'll be tweeting while you're talking, girl.
All right. So a lot of us are now facing this situation where either we're having lots more technology in our schools, whether it's one-to-one or bring your own device, or even, I think the carts are going the way of the past, but some of us might be doing that as well. But we have ever-increasing presence of technology within our schools and outside of our schools. Our students, our parents, our community members, superintendents, so forth, are using the digital world. You guys already know about me. I did cross over to the dark side into instructional technology this year, is what I call it, the dark side. But like I said, once a librarian, I think you're always a librarian.
Oh, Nick, I understand that. I crossed over to the dark side of administration,
right,
administering libraries, and I still want to go back.
Yeah, well, I know that this is back to school time. A lot of us just started back to school this month. In Alabama, I started back in August. But I tell you what, back to school time makes me feel like this. I love back to school time. It makes me so happy because it's a brand new start. Everything I wanted to do or learned about over the summer, I now have a chance to do. So, with that in mind, that gets you getting that beat and
I like it
for tonight. We all know about marketing our libraries. Signage is old hat by now. Social media, like using Facebook or Twitter or even Instagram, because Instagram's where the teenagers are if you're with middle school and high school kids. But we're really going to delve more into websites and blogging tonight, and we all offer great services. But why do we do all this?
Oh, wait, can I jump in for 1 second, Nick? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I want to go back to signage for a second because this was a discussion I just had with my librarians today, and I want to put it out there for everybody to talk about. Let's not make our signage all do not, do not, do not. Make your signage, even if you have to say, like, do not do this, like, do not eat, make it in a positive manner because you want your signage to be welcoming to people. And too often we're seeing libraries have like, do not do this. that was just my little spiel about that. Okay.
You know, talking about that, Alyssa, you remember the memes you made? Funny
Yeah.
memes that were
Yeah.
saying the do nots, but in a funny way.
That is the way you should do it.
Right. So
Something
with
like
humor can get you a
that.
lot of places real easily. So let's go on into this. Advocating for your library is something I hear a lot all throughout the United States is we need to advocate, we need to advocate, we need to advocate. But the thing we fail to remember is we as the librarians can't advocate for our own library because honestly, number one, who listens to us? Nobody. But the people you're advocating for your library has to come from your students, your teachers, your parents, and your community members. It can't come from you. It can't even come from your school library association. I mean, you can advocate, but it's really not going to hold any weight, any water, unless it's your students, teachers, parents, and community members advocating for you. So if they talk about cutting funding to the libraries, your parents and teachers and students and community members should be up in arms and emailing and going down to the board office and just having a complete fit about you can't do that to our library. If they think about getting rid of your library aides, it's going to be your students, teachers, parents, and community members who had to raise arms and say, we're surrounding you like you're Frankenstein. We've got the torches and everything, and we're coming for you. And so it has to be them, and it's not going to be them if they don't love everything you're doing in your library, if they're not completely invested in what you're doing in your library. So like the negative signage, the kicking people out of your library, and whatever antiquated things you're doing in your library, those things have to change because you have to have such a base that's going to advocate for you. And this is scary, and this isn't even an updated map. The reason we need to do this and start to be afraid is this is the map of nation without school libraries. And so every one of these marks are libraries who have either been cut or completely eliminated or have something else going on. Mm-hmm. And I know it looks like the Southeast is pretty free of this, but I'm telling you from Alabama, we're not. Our aides got completely cut 2 years ago. We haven't had any funding for library books for 10 years now, which means that for 10 years there's been zero money for any library books within the entire state provided by the State Department. It is sad. So we're going to go on from there. So what can we do to start building up those advocates in our library? Well, number one, most people aren't in the library with us all day long, every day. They don't know what the heck we're doing. Even our kids aren't in there except maybe when their class comes or when they're in between classes or they're working on an assignment. And I know we've all had those teachers walk into our library in between classes when we just sat down for a second to check our email at the computer, and they go, oh, it must be nice to sit at your desk and have it be so quiet and nice in here all day.
Yeah.
I want to kind of grab them around the throat because it's so not true, right?
My teachers would always go to me, oh, all you do is read books. And I'm like, yes, I read books and eat bonbons all day. Right. How did you know?
So how are people going to know what's going on in your library? How are your teachers going to know? How are your parents going to know? How's your superintendent going to know? How's the general public going to know what it is you do in the library and why the library is an important part of the school? Well, the only way they're going to know this is by your digital footprint. So establishing a strong digital footprint is going to be the key factor over signage, over providing resources, over providing services. That digital footprint is going to be the key to letting the outside world know everything that you're doing and why the library is important and why you need that strong library. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about the link on your school's webpage. So let's start at the top. Is the library a link on the home page of the school? So that's something you want to look for. When you go to your school's home page, that very first page of your school, is there even a link to the library? Do people have to hunt and search before they find anything about your library? And if the link's not there, what does that say about your library? With my job this year, being instructional tech facilitator for DPI, which is Digital Passport Initiative, there was no link. So I asked our webmaster, I said, can you put a link for the Digital Passport Initiative on the main page? And they did. So sometimes it's just a matter of asking. If not, then you need to wonder, why don't they want to have that library on the front page of the library? What's the reasoning for that? Because it really doesn't send a good message if your library link is not on that main page. All right, so if your link is on that main page, then what is someone going to see when they actually click on that link? I was at one library where when you clicked on the link, it simply took them to the Destiny page. That didn't tell anybody anything about our library, so I wouldn't recommend that it goes straight to your circulation page. I just don't think that's the best use of where that link can go. And we'll look at some good examples in just a minute. All right, so then when somebody clicks on the library link, what will they see as your connection with students and teachers beyond providing links to resources? Because most of the library links that I've looked at simply have resources for teachers and students and not much else. And then lastly, when someone clicks on the library link, what will they see as the librarian's role in actually empowering students and teachers? And that's the real importance. What are they doing to empower students and teachers? And so let's delve deeper into this. Now, Andy, I think, knows I'm doing this. I've been using him for a while now.
Oh, Andy's a good one to use.
I love Andy Plemons, but let's go live to his, right? He's in Barrow Elementary School in Georgia, and I'm going to take you live to his school website. Do you still see that, Lisa?
I do.
That's
awesome.
So right here, this is his school's home page, and you can see we have Media Center is right there as one of the important school links. And so we're going to click and see what we see. So the first thing I notice here is that we see a picture of Andy. But what I see in most library web pages is a yearbook photo of the librarian, if I even see that. What we see here about Andy is actively involved and engaged with student learning. That is key. That's the first thing you should see, is that you are actively involved with student learning. He has his mission, his goals, and his beliefs. He doesn't have what you cannot do in the library. He doesn't have the rules of the library. He has a place for suggestions down here. Is there something fantastic that you want to tell us? What suggestions do you have to make this a better place? He has clear links to other things that he's doing, his Twitter, YouTube, and book fair pages. But let's take a look over here on the left-hand side. He's got lots of other things over here too. He's got the typical research tools that I see on a lot of library pages. He has the About page that tells you about it, the catalog to check out books. But notice here, he's got the oral history project, and he's got a link to student projects, because Andy is constantly doing projects with his kids. So going back into the presentation, I'm going to show you one of the projects that he has done, and it is just freaking adorable. He does
amazing stuff.
Oh my gosh, just go and look and peruse the stuff that he's doing on his website. And that's the key. He's got it on his website. He has his blog attached as well. So this is something they did during Black History Month last year with his second graders using Flipgrid. Why should Langston Hughes be on the next U.S. postage stamp? And so his little kids were able to, they researched about Langston Hughes, they made postage stamps, and then they had 90 seconds or less to sell or tell their persuasive writing about why Langston Hughes should be on the postage stamp. So let's look at this little girl.
That is the cutest thing ever. I'm not hearing audio.
Not hearing audio?
No, probably because you were talking, but.
Yeah, she's a little bit quiet. But the thing is, each one of those kids got to come on this Flipgrid and show their project and what it is they were doing. And before that, Andy actually sent out the Flipgrid to his PLN and asked for us to vote on the different people that the kids had researched, because they didn't only research Langston Hughes, they researched a bunch of different people. And I'm assuming, and I might be wrong, so Andy can correct me, I'm assuming that Langston Hughes was the one that actually won. And so he was bringing them and connecting them with a global world as well, which is another thing you should be doing. What activities can you do in your library that connects your children globally? So looking at this, I want you to now think for a second, and we don't have too much time, so we're not going to able to actually go into depth with this. But now that you've seen a great example of a library site, And I didn't even show you his blog, because if you go, and I think this is important because we're going to talk about it later, so I'm going to bring you back in here to Andy's site. He does have a link to his blog as well, because that's where it gets really important, is inside of that blog, where he talks about everything that he does in great detail, what he's doing with the kids. Here he's talking about what he did with Little Bits on September 24th with the kids, and he's got pictures of the kids and their activities and videos and all kinds of stuff that he's done with them. So he's constantly updating and keeping his community informed as to what it is that he's doing with those kids. So now with that, I want you to think, and when you have time tonight or tomorrow or later in the week, I want you to do this. I want you to go to your school website. I want you to see, is there a link to your library on the main page? If there is, click on it. What if you were completely neutral, didn't know anything about your library? What is a stranger going to perceive from your library based on what they see when they click on that link? Are you providing something beyond mere links to resources? And do they see what your role is in empowering students and teachers in active, engaged learning? So that's where we had to do some self-reflection. All right, because remember, I hate to say this about libraries, but it's not about books. It is not about books at all. It's about empowering students to be masters of their own learning. And if that's not what's happening in your library, you need to take a step back and rethink what it is you're doing in the library, because making sure the books are in the correct order on the shelf, making sure the books are in perfect repair, making sure that you've met the collection number requirements, blah, 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 or making sure that you have posters or signage about your books. It's not about books.
No.
It's about empowering students to be masters of their own learning. So you're probably saying, well, darn it, where do I start now? Because my page doesn't look like Andy's. Well, first off, we're not all going to be Andy, and we shouldn't be, because Andy's the only Andy. You just need to be the best you can be, and you can only start where you are right now. So don't do like I did when I first started connecting with the PLN and started panicking and hyperventilating and say, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I'm not like this person. I don't have to be like that person. I just had to be like me, and I had to start where I am and do a little at a time. So let's take a look. I think the most important thing you can do to get started is to get connected. And if you're here tonight, you're already doing that and achieving that. You're getting connected. But if you're not already connected, I suggest get connected with the TL community. It has been completely my lifesaver. I would not be who I am today if it weren't for the TL community. And this is such a supportive, loving community. I can't even say, Andy Plymouth, he's blushing, he said on Twitter.
I know.
I can't even emphasize for you enough about how important this community has been to me. I get all my ideas from this community. This community makes me look smart. I look smart because my PLN is smart. So we have a whole lineup. The TL community has a whole lineup of professional development and connections for you every single month. The first Monday of each month is TL Virtual Cafe, which is a free webinar series. Second Monday of each month at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and I've got Central Time up there for me, 7 p.m. Central, is TL Chat Live, which is our Twitter chat. And TL News Night's the third Monday of each night. So you have every Monday night, except for the last Monday, there's some sort of great professional learning out there for all librarians. I can't emphasize enough, blog, 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 blog. Gwyneth Jones, the Daring Librarian, I'm in love with her.
Oh, I love her too.
Right, oh my gosh. She's one of the first people I've connected with when I first stepped my toe into getting connected and trying to change what I did in my library. And she's amazingly approachable and wonderful and enthusiastic and supportive, but she preaches share what you create enthusiastically and shamelessly, because if you're not willing to put it out there, you're not willing to be completely transparent, you're not willing to tell your story, then somebody else is going to tell your story, and that's going to be that somebody, that teacher who says you sit in the library, read books, and eat bonbons all day, and isn't it nice to sit in a nice quiet library doing nothing all day? All right, so we have to tell our story. All right, and also, we blog because we don't learn from the experiences we have. We learn from reflecting back on those experiences. Why is it that once we get out of library school, or once we get done with our internship and we're in our own library, you know, during the internship, what do you do all the time? you had to write reflections for your college professors. Reflections, 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 until you just want to vomit reflections, right? But when you get into your own library, you stop reflecting. So a blog is perfect for reflecting. But it's also important because a lot of us sit back and think, oh my gosh, I'm not doing anything important. I'm not doing anything brilliant. Anybody would know how to do this. Well, heck no, because think back to what you learned in college, not really too much useful there, because I learned how to repair books and I learned about the Dewey Decimal System, two things I don't really need to know. So let's take a look at this video. It's just a short video, but it's very powerful about why you should blog, and hopefully the sound, well, darn it. Hopefully the sound will work on this. Let me know if it doesn't come through, Alyssa, and
I will.
I love, love, love this video because it's exactly
not hearing anything.
You hear it?
Oh wait, yeah, now we are. Make it look. A little, not much.
All right.
Don't worry, people. We will also be sharing out this to people.
Yeah, well, I can stop that because we got other stuff. But basically, yeah, you can play it. I'll send you the presentation.
We'll send out the link. Yeah.
But basically what it says is, you know, even these famous musicians and writers think, oh, my ideas are just ordinary. And it's not. Your ideas aren't ordinary to somebody else. They may just be brilliant in the thing somebody was looking for. So if we don't share, we're kind of being really selfish too, in a way, because we're not sharing with other people the great things we're doing. So then how do we get students connected? How do we empower students and involve and engage them? Well, part of that is collaboration, because collaboration is key to everything. It's a key to us being successful in our jobs, and it's key to teachers being successful and to students being more successful. So let's look at some collaborative activities. You can collaborate with each other within your school, or you can collaborate with other schools. So let's click on this. Here's a voice thread that my friend Julie D. Ramsey did with her students, and it was 5 different schools in 5 different states, all worked collaboratively on a project together. And this is a voice thread, and so the students were able to come in to the voice thread and tell about their state and give information about their state. And again, and so the kids came in and they could add voice to this, but our sound isn't exactly doing right. But from each state, kids put in different
that's really cool
information, and they worked on this project together from 5 different states. You had 5 4th grade teachers who planned a lesson together from 5 different states, and then their kids from 5 different states put together a project collaboratively. That's real learning. That's authentic learning, and that's when kids are really going to learn. Skyping with an author. A lot of us Skyped for Dot Day, but you can Skype with authors, and this is so amazing, and the kids absolutely eat it up. So if you haven't done Skype with authors, look into that so much. Plus, there's a whole Skype in classrooms that have all kinds of things like Mystery Skype. There's so many great things. Google Hangouts with experts. So like, here's Ivan the gorilla on a hangout on air from the Atlanta Zoo.
Oh, that's
and I don't know, right? You remember Ivan, the one and only Ivan, the Newbery Award winner? I actually, what was it, 2 years ago when the book came out as the Newbery winner, talked on Skype, or was getting on Skype with the author, Catherine Applegate, and she was just so awesome. And the kids were freaking out. They were like, oh my God, you know her? And I was like, well, I don't know her, but I know her on Twitter, and I contacted her. So you don't have to know, but you have those connections, and because you're out there and connecting and collaborating, you're able to get people who you know are really awesome and cool to come on and talk to you.
What do you say all the time, Nick? I love your saying. You got to tell me the 50% saying.
Oh.
I use it now all the time. It's one of my favorite sayings.
People hate me for it, but I ask questions all the time, and I refuse to take no for an answer. So my thing is, if you don't ask, you have a 100% chance of not getting what you want. If you ask, you have a 50-50 chance of getting what you want. So you double your odds simply by opening your mouth.
I love that. Now it's like become my mantra.
Right. So multi-school book clubs. We were just talking with Joyce Valenza about the somewhat virtual book club that I believe Jane Lofton out in California, who's awesome, is doing.
I did one with Jane last year and a few others one time. It was awesome.
Isn't she fun? I love her.
It was a lot of
We've
fun.
got to go to California, but I don't know if they could handle the two of it.
No, no. I think after ISTE this year, I think you and I have been banned from going together anyway.
I think so. And then authentic learning, because it's really about authentic learning, authentic audience, and that's where that collaboration comes in. So again, I'm picking on Andy with the research. Here's a Flipgrid, and I don't know if this is the same exact Flipgrid. Yeah, it is, about postage stamps, but he's got lots of other Flipgrids. I just was focusing on that one because those second graders are so cute. Right, and then blogging. And so let's take a look. I found this statement. I thought, wow, this is so true. Today's employers say the capacity to collaborate to solve problems is going to be even more important, listen, more important for tomorrow's workers than content knowledge.
I agree with you.
Yeah, and your teachers are going to go, what?
I know. They're going to
It's all about content. They can't do anything if they don't learn the content. But workers aren't looking for, can they recite facts? Can they, blurt something out on a test that you taught to them earlier? Can they work collaboratively to solve problems together with the teacher as the guide on the side? Can they do that? If they've never practiced it, how are you getting them college and career ready? You're not.
You're so right.
All right, makerspaces. This was our conversation on TL Chat, the second Monday of this month.
and on a totally different subject, but well, yet not. I'm going to put it out there because next month, ISTE network is going to be about makerspaces with Diana Redina.
Oh, I love her.
I know, isn't she awesome? And she's doing some, oh my God. Have you seen her makerspace? She's doing amazing things with her makerspace.
It's crazy.
So that is October 22nd, people.
That's awesome.
On makerspaces for you.
Well, a lot of people say, oh gosh, makerspace, how do I do that? Think, what can I do to let my kids be completely creative? So anything that's creative is a makerspace. Anything where the kids can create, whether it's 3D printing, arts and crafts, video production, audio recording, electronics. You want to bring in an old motor from, if your school doesn't have an auto shop, bring in an old motor, let people tinker in that. Anything that's creative, painting, writing, building, anything that lets kids be expressive and creative and not have a blueprint of, you must do this, this, and this because I'm the teacher and I'm telling you this is the way you do it. But letting them explore and discover on their own is what a makerspace is. Of course, you can have directions, you can have guidance, but it's really about kids having that freedom to simply explore. So having like an organized arts and crafts day and we're going to make blah, blah, blah is not really a makerspace. That is a club, kind of. And so it really needs to be completely free range. Free range maker spaces. Let your kids be free range. Stop caging them in. Okay, let's go on. So robotics. Robotics can include coding. Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous of a friend of mine, Faith Plunkett, who has the most freaking amazing job in the world. But coding, this is just one place you can go for coding, which is code.org.
Great way to start the kids.
Right, and Khan Academy now has computer programming, blah, blah, blah.
Too. I saw that.
Right, but, okay, I got to tell you about my friend Faith. She got this amazing job. She is entertainment technology teacher.
What?
Right. Her job is to just teach the kids robotics and coding and creating online games.
I totally need that job.
That's her job, right? And I'm like, what? How do I get that job?
I need that job.
But with robotics, you learn coding, programming, creative thinking, teamwork, collaboration, and problem solving. There's all kinds of things that are so college and career oriented in this. And so here's just some of the robotics. Hummingbirds, they're awesome. They were great. We saw them at ISTE. They put up with us.
Them.
Oh, Spiro.
Oh, awesome. Spiro loves Spiro.
Andy just wrote a great blog post about Little Bits.
Mm-hmm.
Cahoots is something my teachers have just embraced and been using with our BYOD this year. And
yeah, I've been playing with it a little. It sounds like fun.
Yeah, and you can actually make your own Cahoots in there with whatever it is you're doing. Our teachers use it for test review a lot.
Yeah.
And then gamification. Don't forget it. Make it fun. For the love of God, the kids are always in classes where, you know, they've got worksheets and books and tests and everything. So make the library a fun place. Leveled Up Book Club. We've got Matthew Winter and his mathematics with the Wii. Heck, if you put a Wii in my hand for me to learn math, I might have would have liked it.
I might have actually learned it.
Right, I might know something. Class Dojo. Behavior doesn't have to be a horrible thing. Put it in a gamification type setting, like with Class Dojo. Socrative is a way to gamify. Brainscape's another way to gamify. So when you think gamification, you look at games. Fun games purely for entertainment, strategies that use the game.
Oh my God, wait, we're at 8:30. But
we're almost done. It's not about books, it's about empowering students to be masters of their own way. I gotta finish this.
No, you're going back. We're going over. It's so good we're going over.
I gotta do this last thing.
Go back.
I'll be done. All right, so I've got to start cue the music. Libraries, a learning commons. This is the challenge for the ISTE Librarians Network. Its school year mission to establish positive school interactions, seek out student empowering activities, and new professional collaborations. The end.
Yay!
Could you hear the Star Trek music in the background?
No, I couldn't.
Darn it, it goes with the Star Trek.
Oh, that would have been awesome. But, I mean, everything you're saying is so dead on. So what we need to be doing as librarians, and so what hilariously, I mean, like, just ironically, what I was talking about with my librarians today. So, Nikki, thank you so much for joining us. I cannot thank you enough. An awesome more than half hour, and that's okay. We're a little flexible here. You know what? It doesn't matter. We're a little flexible here. When it's good, we want to stay a little longer and, you know, talk about the good things that are going on. So, I cannot thank you enough, my love, for joining us. Next month, we have Diana joining us about makerspaces, and I cannot wait, because if you are not following her on Twitter, you should be, and on Instagram, because she is tweeting out and putting out pictures about what she's doing in her library and her makerspaces, and she's doing some amazing things. So we'll be discussing makerspaces with her next month on the ISTE Librarian Network. Remember, it's always a free resource for our teacher librarians, just like TL Chat. The ISTE Librarian Network once a month has PD for you for free, because we believe we are such, you know, like the library community is such one that shares, that we want you to be able to share too and learn from. So we offer these for you once a month. Thank you, love. Oh, if anybody, you guys have until October 1st at 11:59 a.m. to get in a proposal if you're want to speak at ISTE 2015 in Philly this year, coming closer to my area. So that one's there for you guys too. Thank you, Nikki, again. And we'll be on Twitter for the next half hour under the hashtag ISTELib. So if you have any questions or want anything done, you know, ask us. We're here for you. Thank you, Nick.
All right, my friend. Goodbye, y'all.
Bye. Love you.
Bye.